Hello. Well, I survived training. It was full body workout. And I have to confess, I was dreading it. I always dread Tuesdays. And worse so, yesterday I wasn't well. I woke up with massive headache and I resorted to having to self-medicate with a massive bar of chocolate. That tends to help my headache. In fact, I hadn't had one for the longest time. And then, right throughout the day, I had an upset stomach. All day, upset stomach. So, I mean, at one point I considered whether I would be in any shape to go training. But, I mean, when I saw what it was and that it was only each exercise was 30 seconds only, I figured I could cope. In other words, I went on an empty stomach and I had visions of not so much passing out, but feeling faint. So I managed to get through that. Still haven't eaten. I won't eat until I get in, just in case. You never know, my stomach might decide it wants to start playing up again. But it's just really, it's not even so much to say that, I kept going or whatever. It's not about that. It's just really, well, one never knows what one is capable of until one pushes oneself. So that's where I'm coming from, because I thought I was going to have a banana this morning, but then I thought better of it. So I went on an empty stomach with just water, and I managed to get through it. So there you go. Managed to do it. So now I'm just taking my time and walking back very leisurely. I don't need to sort of engage in any kind of... I've already exercised and I speed walked to training. So I don't sort of need to exert myself anymore. And as I've said, I didn't eat, so I'm very low on energy anyway. So that's it really, this bleeding wire. A second. Yeah, so it's pretty much not a lot to report. Just taking each day as it comes. But I will say, I have the past, let's say 2-3 weeks, I've been planning my life. When I say planning my life, working out what I need to do in order to get from point A to point B. And then it dawned on me yesterday, at the point when I was unwell, that I'm taking the responsibility away from God. So not so much that I'm trying to be my own savior, my own God as such, but I am of a mind to, if I need to do something to make something happen, I'm not gonna wait for somebody else to do it for me. And sometimes I forget that I need to let God do what He's doing. So for example, I'm not going to say that this is why I was ill, but it set me back slightly yesterday. I did manage to hit the one target that I wanted to, but it took me a bit longer. But it gave me the opportunity to concentrate, to realize, not necessarily that I'm invincible, that I'm not, what am I talking about? That I am not, I don't even know what I'm saying here. I don't like to say I'm only human, because that's so weak. To say that I am not indestructible, that's the word I'm looking for. Right, so even though I tend to go about doing whatever I'm doing and I expect to succeed, if I put the effort in. Basically what it was, I'd set myself certain targets, and the fact that I got struck down yesterday meant, even though I managed to self-medicate my way out of it, meant that I had to consider that other things can come into play. And it was at that point that I remembered that there are certain things that I need to leave God to take care of. Right, so, and in that space of time I got up and I posted, I won't call it ranting as such. Oh my gosh, this is so noisy. Bear with me a second. It's going to have some workmen and it's very noisy. Right, so I think yesterday I was in that frame of mind because I was focused and it's like, all right, God, you win type thing. In other words, as I said, there are things that I should leave to God instead of trying to, set certain targets for myself. I mean, I know what I mean, but I don't want to sort of go into it. But there are certain... the reason I don't want to go into it is because I know not everybody wishes people well. There are people who don't wish others well. So I don't want to start discussing what my plans are. And so there are certain things that God is putting into place. And it's almost like, not like I'm shoving him out of the way, but like I'm thinking, all right, in order for this to happen, then I must do this. So, as I said, this massive headache that I woke up with and an upset stomach all day kind of focused me. Meanwhile, as I began saying, I posted on Facebook this morning, because that's where people come to see what I'm up to, a message to the men who decide, and it is a decision, that they are interested in that. I pose the question that they should ask themselves. And the question is, in what way can I enhance her life? Right? And people would say, you think a lot of yourself. Well, it's not so much that I think a lot of myself. I am somewhat self-sufficient, as I've just explained. Sometimes I even forget that God has his role to play in my life. And I try to do it myself. And then, as was the case yesterday, I got sick. Anyways, so I pose that question because there are always, I've made videos where random men will come and talk to me even 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm walking on the road. And I don't find it flattering because I set such high standards for myself. And it's not about, I want a perfect man, I want this, I want that. I don't need a man. I don't, even when people talk about friends, I don't have any friends that I associate with. I don't mix with anyone, don't you get me wrong. I have friends that I talk to. But we very rarely see one another. We don't meet to socialize. They are not into the things that I am into. So, if I'm going out, I go out by myself. I wouldn't get in contact with anybody and say, do you fancy going out? Because they're not into what I'm into. So, the same principle applies with men. If you're going to present yourself, or you decide that for whatever you drop something. Excuse me.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, this guy just is walking with his baby and he just dropped his prescription. Anyways, yeah, so you decide that my life is crap. And I think I can benefit by attaching myself to her. Something might work out for me. That would be the wrong decision for anybody to make. Because I would skewer him. You know what I mean? I see people coming. And sometimes I am decent enough to cut them off at the path. Other times I will let them go down that road. And then I will say to them whatever it is that I feel inclined to say. You know, that's sort of like in the form of questions. And then there will be a hasty retreat. Right, so yesterday that's what I was dealing with. So I'm thinking, here we go, another parasite. And it sounds really awful of me to say that, you know, we have one life and it's how we choose to live it. And I think sometimes people don't think ahead as to how the future is going to come 100%. They don't sort of like think ahead with the future in mind. Now, most people would sort of like think in terms of preparing for the future as insurance, pensions, and the like. I don't. Whenever people ring me up offering me, you know, sort of like selling insurance or pensions, I tell them I don't want it. I don't believe in it. And that's the point where I put my confidence in God as provider. Right? So, yesterday, as I said, I wasn't well, but I still managed to do a day's work. So the conversation, well, it wasn't a conversation, it was an exchange. The individual was asking me where I am, but I knew what he was driving at. He was sort of like driving at my income. Asking me things like, do I work? And it's like, whether I work or not, how is that your business? This is someone that I've not heard from in years. You know, sort of like in your youth, when I used to go to church, these are people that you used to interact with at church social events and so on, but have not had contact with in 25 or 30 years. And suddenly they just decide to descend on you. So this is what I said, people will come to Facebook to see what I'm up to. And in this case, I mean, I can provide other incidents. And as I said, I've done videos where I'm walking 3 o'clock in the morning and some random man is asking me for my number. And I will ask him what for. For what purpose do you want my number? And he will say, to get to know me. Why? And I will ask, why do you need to get to know me? Do you see what I mean? So there's no point needing to get to know somebody if it's not going to go anywhere. And as I've already said, even if it's for friendship, I don't keep friends in that kind of way. So anyway, so not a lot going on except that. I just was brought down to earth with a bump yesterday and was reminded that it's not actually up to you to take your life to the next point. That is entirely up to God. So, I'm leaving it with him. Managed to do my training. And now I'm just going to go back. I slept well enough because I didn't stay up too late last night with the tennis, so I slept well. So I'm just going to go straight in, eat something, and then get back to work. And then that's it. Just continue just putting one foot in front of the other and leave God to do his thing. Right, so I'm going to wind up there. But look after yourselves and have a nice day. Take care, bye-bye.